G'day. This week it's all about getting from Kununurra right down to a town called Alice. Loved Alice and loved the trip down. So there was a couple of highlights in there. I'd been wanting to go back to Daly Waters for a long time, so that was great calling into there. And when I got into Alice, I found a real nice little hidey spot just out of town. Really reasonable rates, which was great. Nice little quiet campground. And yeah, some of the places all the way down. Oh, Barlow Creek, what a great place. You just call in and it, seriously, if you want to look at a pub that's got the full-on Australiana without all the other stuff, that's the place. Barlow Creek, you really should try and call into there. Anywho, let's go. Here's a little fun fact for you. I've just passed through a little town called Town Creek, and sort of medium size, but almost straight after that, that's around about 200 kilometres from Kununurra. Now almost immediately after that, all the boab trees just seem to stop. You know, before they'd be interdispersed all down the road, all the way up to Kununurra. So if you've got kids in the car, you might want to get them to tell you when the boab trees stop, or if you're coming from Katherine going up, get them to tell you when the boab trees start, to give you a clue. It's around about Town Creek. Here's another little fun fact. These are the termite mounds, and in Northern Territory they seem to enjoy dressing them up. They don't so much in Western Australia, but certainly it starts now. What they'll do is they'll find a termite mound. They'll throw an old t-shirt on it, or a dress, or a skirt, or whatever, hat, and from now on, I'll try and point out a few of them, but seriously, you're kind of driving like 5, 10, 15 kilometres and suddenly there's some amazing ones. So you've got to pull over, take some photos and drive a little bit. Oh, there's some more. So it's a bit time consuming, but some of them are really fantastic. And you can put comments down the bottom there, whether you think it's a waste of time, whether it's pollution, whether it's good or bad. But it really does break the journey. So again, if you've got kids or kid-minded people in the car, oh, check that out. Dressed up termites. The other little thing, you probably already know this, with termites, it's a bit like like the icebergs. What happens is what you see up there, it's a whole lot bigger down underneath. So there you go, termites. And the last little thing, I can't show you here because it's too far away, but you might notice that most of the little white posts with the reflectors on the side of the road, you'll find that most of those are metal, because these little beasts are going to come along and they'll have lunch and afternoon tea and eat them all away. in the early 1950s, a lady called Jeannie Gunn, who had written a book called We of the Never Never. They decided they were going to make a movie out of it, and they came and they made this set, which is all based around Mataranka and Pine Creek. This set is basically the a reproduction of the house that the story is based around. If you're driving between Mataranka and Tennant Creek, or Three Ways I think it's called, thinking umming and ahhing whether to go to Daly Waters, I really would heavily recommend going to Daly Waters. It's just a few kilometres just off the road, but wait till you get there and you'll see exactly what I mean. It is someplace. I've been here before and it's about 40, 41 degrees. When you get there, it is just an oasis. So let's go check that out. Well, as I was saying before, here we are in Daly Waters pub, and you've only got to look around it just to see how fantastic it is. It's it's pretty hard to find the right words for it, but it really is great. Got t-shirts hanging everywhere, lots of stubby coolers, as I mentioned earlier on, bras. Don't know what that's about, and I hope that wasn't done in a live situation. Big TV for those people who want to catch up and keep up to date with the sport. Yeah, stickers, coasters, and great staff. So can't say enough. You've got to call into Daly Waters if you've got time on your hands, and if you're scooting from either Three Ways or Tennant Creek and you're headed north, or alternative, if you're coming south and just been to Mataranka, definitely call into here. I'm in downtown Daly Waters. Oh, top of the morning to you. And it's been raining a little bit. I haven't seen rain for so long. I know you're all having to deal with it, but where I am in Australia, there's been very, very little rain. And so it's nice to see it, and everything smells nice and fresh, a little bit wet, but hey, that's rain for you. Today I'm going to go and check out the Daly Waters Museum. Apparently it really is something worth looking at. Just as a little side note, as the rain came down this morning, and by the time I'd fiddled and faffed inside the caravan and got organised for the next part of the trip, opened the door, no one bar one caravan, and I have a feeling that that caravan is part of the staff that live here, so must be time to move on. Now, I'm deliberately not going to show you everything in the museum, otherwise there's not much point you coming here, but I'll just give you a couple of highlights. And old Quackmeister here is obviously the person who takes the money. Well, there you go. Okay, if you find your way out here, it's called Newcastle Waters. It's about 3 kilometres in from the highway. You come in and you come to a T-junction where the primary school is. Turn right there, and it's not very well signposted. Well, it's actually not signposted at all. When you get to the big Telstra tower, just on your left hand side you'll see a couple of buildings just before do not enter. The do not enter is Indigenous land, so you can't go any further anyway. But yeah, just back there on the left hand side there's a couple of buildings, the old pub here which I've just taken you through, and another old building, the old general store I think it was. It's worth a look. I thought it was quite intriguing. This is quite amazing. This petrol bowser is exactly the same as the one I saw in Daly Waters, which was in pristine condition. But basically the way they used to work it is the bowser, you know, the pump would sit on here, on this thing here, and then what you would nominate is you would, I think this is how it was done, you'd nominate how many gallons, so you'd click it up to so many gallons, then this click here is to open, and that actually sucks all that amount of fuel in. So there's no automatic fuel when it runs out. You say, oh, I want 3 gallons. So you click it up here to 3 gallons. Click it to open. That does its little thing. And then this thing here, I think you just pump it. And you can watch the 3 gallons. When the fluid come down to 0, that means your 3 gallons is in there, and then you go to your car. And most of those cars in those days were, you'd start them with the crank, a little bit different to today's. So I'm pretty sure that's the way it all went. Now I understand what I've done is somewhat controversial, so if you feel the need, please make a comment. But I quite like it in the fact that it breaks up the trip coming down, and I don't think it's really a form of pollution, but I just thought it was a nice thing to do. So I donated $7 to the local mini store, and this is what I came up with. So if you're driving south out of Tennant Creek, hopefully you'll see this little darling by the side of the road. Bye. Here I am at Three Ways. Now this is an important stop, and a lot of travellers will know this. Basically, Three Ways means that you can either go down south towards Alice Springs, or you can scoot east toward Mount Isa and Queensland and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to Alice. So here's the famous, oh not famous, here's the sign. I'm scooting straight ahead to Tennant Creek. By Jiminy, it's a little bit warm again, but I have felt the temperature starting to drop, so that's a nice relief. I have to put these sunglasses on, apologies. I'm at the Devil's Marbles. This is probably about 100 clicks, I think, roughly, out of south of Tennant Creek on the way to Alice Springs. These are giant boulders. They are really big. You used to think they're called devil's marbles because when I was young and I had marbles, I had someone to play with. Don't know who he was playing with. Anywho, yeah, look, they are really intriguing. It's worth a walk. There's about half a dozen different walks you can do here, but usually about 20 minutes or half an hour, whatever. But I'm not well at the moment, so I won't push myself. Get on with it. But yeah, really quite a spectacular place. Worth just driving in. You can actually log online and camp in the area, but now I'll just go on to the next place because the next place is even more intriguing. The next place is all about UFOs. I don't know what that's about. Anywho, we'll go and check it out. Just thought I should share this with you. A most extraordinary situation. I have a slight medical incident and I may have cracked a rib or hurt my rib anyway. Not a chest pain, but it's interesting to note that travelling by yourself, you really have to plan for that. At any rate, I kind of planned for it. And it's not a lot I can do, and I can't just call into local doctors because I'm literally in the middle of the desert in Northern Territory. But the thing's most extraordinary is I went and had a bit of a lie down to see if the pain would go away just by sleeping it through. It didn't. Anyway, then I heard the rain on the roof. So I jumped out of the van, I didn't jump, climbed out of the van gingerly to come and look at and lock up the car so the rain wouldn't get on all my gear. And as I did, I've noticed an ambulance parked right next to me. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. Anywho, there's the ambulance, and Haley was the name of the paramedic. And she said, "Oh, how you doing? You okay?" I said, "Actually, I'm not." And I told her of my woes. And she said, "Oh, okay." Well, she said, "I've got some painkiller in the, just normal, normal medicinal painkiller. And I've already got that, so that's fine." And then she talked me through a couple of possibilities what it might be. And I'm pretty sure what she said is it might be, there's a little, on the bone, there's a little cartridge, might have become dislocated. Because when I was moving around the generator by myself, obviously, they're quite heavy. And when they're full of petrol, they're even heavier. So lifting it up onto the back of the tub and then moving it around, I think I might have slightly overdone it. Anywho, it's just amazing because I was just lying in bed thinking, wow, a doctor would be handy. And ambulance arrived. No flashing lights, no drama. So what she's done is she's pointed me to 100 kilometres down south towards Alice Springs. There's an Aboriginal community there. She said, call in there and they've got someone there, doctors and medical people should be able to at least tell me what the drama is. I'm at the back of Barlow Creek pub, and this is the first time I've been here for 3 or 4 days. First time I've seen quite a few people in here having a few beers, so that's a bit of fun. You really, if you get a chance and you've got time with you, call in this place. It really is quite outstanding. It's very, it's got a real atmosphere even without those guys there. It's a real atmosphere to it. It hasn't got any sort of trendy sort of, t-shirts and all this sort of stuff. It's got a lot of stuff hanging off the walls and lots of people have written things. And yeah, you can just soak up that atmosphere. And it's a pretty good place. As well as caravan sites, they've also got little motel rooms you can stay here as well. So you might want to break your journey between Tennant Creek and Alice Springs. Barrow Creek pub. I just woke up. I'm physically shaking. The wind outside is so strong. I'm not sure if it is an actual cyclone, but it certainly feels like it could be. The van, it's like being on a roller coaster. The whole van is shaking like this, and for the life of me, I can't remember whether I secured the caravan onto the car before I went to bed. I was sure I looked out the window and I was sure that I could actually see myself moving across the caravan park. So, but the rain is so strong at the moment, I can't get out of there because I just get absolutely munched. So fingers crossed it's not a cyclone. Fingers crossed I can just calm down and go back to sleep. As we all know, not many things in life are free, but I'm just about to get something for free, something I really want. Not a lot, but I do want it a fair bit. Anywho, I've driven from Darwin to, I'm now in Alice Springs, and I'm at the, just coming into town, and I've just driven up to the motor registry there. And what I'm going to do is I'm allowed to drive on to the weighbridge for free. So I'll drive the car on, read the scales, what that weighs, and then drive the whole car and the caravan, read that and the scales, and work out the rest myself. Or I'm sure in the comments below you'll tell me how to do it. But I am looking forward to it because it'll actually give me some sort of closure. Well, not closure, it will give me some idea of what this weighs and the van weighs and what they all weigh together, and then I can find out how close I am to being street legal to drive the two on the road. Well, there you have it. What a week. Woohoo! Mostly driving, but when I pulled in I made certain I had a couple of days to really chill out and really enjoy. Now, I didn't give you the times this time for the driving on each segment, only because it's all been on highway. So like I sort of travel between 80 and 95, and it's going to vary, so it's just going to take sort of what it takes. But you can probably work it out. If it's 179 kilometres, probably take you 2 hours or thereabouts, and you can do your own calculations. I'm not trying to get out of it, but just didn't see much point. Anywho, hopefully you did enjoy it, and if you found it interesting, helpful or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, would be great if you did. And if you think the video is worth sharing, that too would be great. And until next time, this is Paul Drive, signing off.